Freedom isn't what you think it is. America sells a simple idea: land of the free, home of the brave, where you can do almost anything as long as you don't harm anyone. But the fine print tells a different story. Hidden inside federal codes, state statutes, and municipal ordinances are rules that contradict common sense. Rules so obscure that millions of Americans break them daily without ever realizing they're committing crimes. This file isn't about dramatic felonies. It's about the everyday actions people assume are harmless. Recording a conversation, picking up a package delivered to the wrong house, keeping something you found on the street, carrying a pocket knife across state lines, or even collecting rainwater in your backyard. All real, all punishable, and all backed by actual arrests, citations, and documented cases that show how fast "I didn't know" can turn into "you're under arrest." The misunderstanding doesn't come from stupidity. It comes from the sheer size of the American legal system. 50 state codes, thousands of county regulations, millions of local ordinances, and a federal system layered on top. The laws overlap, contradict, or quietly lurk in the background until someone triggers them. Freedom feels wide, but the rules beneath it are narrow. Across 45 real examples, you'll see how ordinary people stepped into legal blind spots they never knew existed. Not criminals, not rebels, just citizens living their everyday lives, until an officer, a neighbor, or a technicality changed everything. Welcome to the Absurdist Files, File 009, where legality is a maze, ignorance isn't a defense, and freedom has footnotes. Everyday actions that are weirdly illegal. 1. Keeping a wallet you found is considered theft by conversion. Most Americans assume that if you find a lost wallet and no one sees you pick it up, it's yours. In many states, that's a crime. Police treat it as theft by conversion. You took someone else's property and converted it for your own use. People have been arrested for keeping cash found in store parking lots, ATMs, and even inside gas stations. A well-known case in New Jersey involved a man who found a wallet with $600 and kept it. Cameras caught him. He was charged with theft, fined, and forced to pay restitution. The law is simple. If you find something with identifying info and don't turn it in, you're stealing, even if you thought you were lucky. 2. Recording someone without permission, in 15 U.S. states, is a crime. Many Americans think recording a conversation, audio or video, is always legal. Not true. 15 states require two-party consent, meaning everyone involved must agree. California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and others have arrested people for secretly recording coworkers, bosses, or partners. Violations can be charged as misdemeanors or felonies, depending on context. One famous case, a California man recorded a contractor promising repairs. Instead of solving the dispute, he got charged under the state's strict wiretapping law. The twist? Recording the truth was illegal. The wrongdoing wasn't. 3. Feeding pigeons can get you arrested in multiple cities. San Francisco, Las Vegas, and parts of New York have strict anti-feeding laws. Feeding pigeons spreads disease and attracts vermin, and cities treat it like a public health threat. In Las Vegas, violators have received fines up to $1,000 and face possible arrest for repeat offenses. One elderly woman in San Francisco became locally famous after being detained for feeding birds near her apartment. Police didn't want to arrest her, but the ordinance left no wiggle room. Just giving bread to birds becomes a misdemeanor. 4. Collecting rainwater is restricted or regulated. Many Americans laugh when they hear this, but it's real. Several states regulate rainwater harvesting because it interferes with water rights systems. Colorado once had one of the strictest bans, with residents fined for using barrels. In Oregon, a man was arrested and served jail time for collecting rainwater in large reservoirs without a permit. State law considered it illegal diversion of water. You can collect rain, you just can't collect it however you want. 5. Driving with a partially obstructed windshield is illegal. Placing your GPS, phone mount, parking permits, or even air fresheners in the wrong place on your windshield can result in tickets or arrest escalation if ignored. States like Minnesota, Florida, and New York enforce strict obstructed view laws. One Minnesota driver was detained after a dangling air freshener violated the statute, leading to a stop that escalated into an arrest for unrelated issues. Police often use this law as a pretext to pull drivers over, because technically they're right. 6. Using someone else's Wi-Fi is a crime. Americans think an open network is free to use. Legally, accessing someone's Wi-Fi without permission can be charged as unauthorized computer access, a cybercrime. A Michigan man was arrested in 2007 for checking email from his car using a cafe's network after hours. Similar arrests have occurred in Florida and New York. Even if there's no password, the law assumes the network isn't yours, so you're trespassing digitally. 7. Walking into someone's yard to retrieve a ball is criminal trespass. Neighborhood disputes have led to real arrests over this. In many states, entering someone's property intentionally, no matter how briefly, is trespassing unless the owner consents. A case in Texas involved teenagers retrieving a basketball. The homeowner called police, resulting in a citation. A similar case in Georgia led to an actual arrest after the homeowner insisted on pressing charges. The law doesn't care that it was just a ball. 8. Public use of fireworks is illegal in many states. In Massachusetts, consumer fireworks are fully illegal. In New Jersey, New York, and several others, many types, rockets, firecrackers, aerial shells, can lead to confiscation or arrest. People often assume that because fireworks are sold nearby, often across state borders, they're legal to use. Officers don't agree. One viral case involved a New Jersey father arrested for setting off out-of-state fireworks in his driveway. Legal in Pennsylvania, illegal 5 miles away. 9. Leaving kids in the car just for a minute can get you arrested. Most parents have no idea how strict U.S. child endangerment laws are. Leaving a child unattended, even briefly, is illegal in many states, especially in vehicles. California, Florida, Nevada, and others treat it as a misdemeanor on the first offense and a felony if harm occurs. Security footage often becomes evidence. A Maryland woman was arrested after running into a pharmacy for 3 minutes. Officers found her toddler alone and charged her under the state's unattended child statute. 10. Carrying certain pocket knives is a felony in some states. Americans assume knives are legal everywhere, but switchblades, butterfly knives, gravity knives, and certain spring-assisted blades are illegal in many states and cities. New York City alone has made thousands of arrests for gravity knives, many involving people who didn't know their work tool was classified as a weapon. In one case, a chef carrying his folding knife for kitchen prep was arrested because the blade could be flicked open, meeting the city's definition of illegal. Things people assume are free rights but aren't. 4. 11. Filming police is legal, except when it isn't. Most Americans think, I have the right to film police anywhere. The truth is messy. While federal courts affirm the right to record officers in public, many states have obstruction of justice, interference, or distance requirement laws that police use to arrest people who get too close, refuse to step back, or create a safety hazard. In Arizona, a 2022 law attempted to ban filming within 8 feet of officers. Even though it was blocked, numerous arrests nationwide occurred under similar local ordinances before courts later overturned them. You can film, just not in every context, distance, or scenario, even if people think it's an absolute right. 12. You can't wear a mask in public in some states. Many Americans assume wearing a mask is always legal, especially after 2020. But several states, including Georgia, Alabama, and New York, have anti-mask laws originally written to combat the Ku Klux Klan. These laws make it illegal to conceal your identity in public outside of specific exceptions. People have been detained for wearing cosplay masks, Halloween disguises outside permitted hours, or even face coverings considered threatening. Cases in Georgia and Virginia documented arrests for violating anti-mask statutes simply by walking outdoors in costume. 13. You don't have the right to enter a business because it's public. Americans often believe any business open to the public must admit them. Legally, that's false. Stores, restaurants, and private businesses can refuse service for almost any reason: dress code, behavior, photography, filming, safety regulations, except discrimination based on protected classes. Dozens of arrests happen yearly when customers refuse to leave after being denied entry. Once an employee asks you to go, refusing becomes criminal trespass, even if you paid to be here before. 14. Parental discipline isn't unlimited. Many believe parents can discipline children however they see fit, but every U.S. state has strict boundaries defining excessive corporal punishment. Violating these can result in assault charges, loss of custody, or emergency protective orders. Several documented cases include parents arrested for spanking visible bruises, using belts, or physical punishments deemed unsafe even when the parents believed it was legal. In states like Minnesota and Massachusetts, teachers or neighbors are mandated to report any suspicious marks. 15. You don't have the right to carry alcohol in public. Open container laws vary wildly, but in most U.S. cities, walking around with alcohol, even if sealed previously, is illegal outside designated areas. Tourists are arrested every year in places like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami for holding beer cans on sidewalks. Officers don't need proof you drank it. Possession in a public space is enough. One viral case involved a man arrested for carrying what he claimed was an unopened can of iced tea. Police tested it, confirmed alcohol, and charged him on the spot. 16. You can be arrested for refusing to identify yourself. Americans often say, "I don't have to show ID unless I'm driving." Not true in many states. Stop and identify statutes allow police to detain and arrest individuals who refuse to provide their name during lawful stops. States like Nevada, Ohio, and Kansas enforce these tightly. The famous U.S. Supreme Court case, Hybel v. Nevada, 2004, upheld such laws. Several tourists have been arrested after refusing to identify themselves, believing they had a constitutional right to silence. 17. Yelling at someone in public can be a crime. Many Americans think free speech protects heated arguments, but disorderly conduct, disturbing the peace, and threatening behavior laws allow police to arrest people simply for loud or aggressive shouting, especially if bystanders feel threatened. A Massachusetts man was arrested for yelling at a parking officer. The charges stuck. Free speech protects content, not volume, not context, and definitely not intimidation. 18. You can't stand your ground everywhere. Americans assume self-defense laws are uniform. They aren't. Only some states have stand-your-ground protections. In others, citizens must attempt retreat if possible before using force. Many arrests involve people who believed they acted legally but violated local statutes. A man in New Jersey, where duty to retreat applies, was arrested after using force in a situation that would have been legal across the river in Pennsylvania. Same act, different state, opposite outcome. 19. You can be arrested for swearing in public. Several states still have old public profanity, vulgar language, or offensive utterance laws on the books. While rarely enforced, people have been arrested. In North Carolina, a woman was arrested for swearing on a public street. The law dated back to 1913. In Michigan, a canoeist was fined for swearing loudly near families. His case went to state court. These archaic laws linger quietly until someone triggers them. 20. You don't have the right to go onto someone's property to do repairs, retrieve packages, or check on pets. Americans often believe good intentions shield them legally. They don't. Entering someone's property without explicit permission, even to retrieve a misdelivered package, check on a neighbor's barking dog, or turn off a sprinkler, is still trespassing. A California woman was arrested after entering a neighbor's backyard to rescue what she thought was a trapped cat. The law didn't care about intentions. It cared about boundaries. Harmless objects that are actually illegal. 21. Brass knuckles are illegal in many states. Even though they're sold online everywhere, brass knuckles are banned or heavily regulated in states like California, New York, Illinois, and Michigan. People mistakenly buy them for self-defense. Unaware possession alone can be a misdemeanor or felony. A Texas woman was arrested in 2018 after officers found a pink plastic keychain version, still classified as brass knuckles under the law. The absurdity? She bought it from a popular self-defense booth at a mall. The vendor wasn't arrested. She was. 22. High-powered laser pointers can get you federal charges. Laser pointers seem harmless, but aiming a laser at any aircraft, even unintentionally, is a federal crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Dozens are arrested annually. One California teen received federal charges for shining a green laser near a helicopter, not realizing the beam can travel miles. The FBI runs entire campaigns about this because lasers have temporarily blinded pilots. Most offenders tell police the same thing. I thought it was just a toy. 23. Some states classify nunchucks as illegal weapons. Nunchucks, popularized by martial arts films, were banned for decades in states like New York under strict gravity weapon laws. People who bought them for practice or cosplay were arrested for simple possession. In 2018, a federal court finally struck down New York's ban as unconstitutional. But for almost 40 years, owning nunchucks in your bedroom was enough to land you in handcuffs. Meanwhile, swords were legal. The logic never quite aligned. 24. Switchblades are still illegal in several states. Despite being common in movies, switchblades remain illegal in states like Hawaii, Minnesota, and parts of New York. People regularly get arrested after buying them online, unaware that federal interstate transport laws also apply. One Massachusetts man was detained after ordering a switchblade from Amazon. Delivery triggered a customs alert. He thought he bought a collector's item. The government disagreed. 25. Certain pocket knife designs are felonies in New York City. NYC has notoriously strict knife laws. Gravity knives, knives that can be flicked open, were the basis of thousands of arrests for workers, chefs, stagehands, and construction employees. Even simple folding knives became felonies if an officer could snap them open with wrist motion. Multiple lawsuits documented innocent workers being arrested for tools used on the job. The law was finally changed in 2019, but its legacy lives in countless cases. 26. Owning a raccoon or hedgehog is illegal in several states. Americans think exotic pets just means snakes and tigers, but common animals like hedgehogs, raccoons, sugar gliders, ferrets, California, and even turtles below 4 inches are illegal in several states due to health regulations or ecological concerns. Police have confiscated dozens of pet raccoons after viral TikTok videos encouraged adoption. Owners often claim they thought it was just a cute pet. Wildlife authorities respond with, "It's still a wild animal." 27. Certain body armor is illegal for civilians. In states like Connecticut, civilians cannot purchase body armor except in face-to-face transactions, and convicted felons are restricted entirely. Many Americans buy vests online, unaware some states limit possession or require permits. In New York, a 2022 reform banned the sale of most bullet-resistant vests to civilians. Several people were arrested for possessing armor during routine traffic stops, believing it was just protective clothing. 28. Police scanners are illegal in cars in several states. Police scanners, apps or radio devices that pick up emergency channels, are illegal in vehicles in states like New York, Kentucky, and Minnesota unless you have a license. People are often arrested after officers spot scanner apps running during traffic stops. Many offenders say they downloaded the app out of curiosity. Legally, it suggests criminal intent, even if they just wanted to be in the know. 29. GPS trackers you place on someone else's car equals stalking charges. GPS trackers sold on Amazon are marketed as tools for vehicle recovery, fleet tracking, or monitoring teenagers. But placing one on someone else's vehicle, spouse, friend, co-worker, without consent is illegal in nearly every state. Dozens of arrests happen yearly when suspicious partners secretly track vehicles. In one case in Ohio, a husband was arrested after police found a tracker installed under his wife's bumper. He argued it was his family car. The court disagreed. 30. Spy pens, hidden cameras, and recording devices are illegal without consent. Many Americans buy tiny spy cameras or recording pens believing they're novelty gadgets, but using them without the subject's consent violates state wiretapping and privacy laws. Numerous arrests involve hidden cameras placed in Airbnbs, locker rooms, apartments, and workplaces. Even placing a hidden camera in your own home can be illegal if it records guests or tenants without disclosure. The devices themselves are legal. Their use can get you charged with felony surveillance. Legal gray zones people get arrested for. 31. Keeping a misdelivered package is a federal crime. Most Americans think if a package shows up at their doorstep with the wrong name, they can keep it. Legally, keeping or opening misdelivered mail violates 18 U.S. Code Section 1708, theft of mail. It doesn't matter if the mistake is UPS, FedEx, or Amazon. Several arrests have occurred when neighbors kept incorrectly delivered items. One Florida man kept a high-value electronics package left at his door, and federal agents charged him after the rightful owner filed a theft report. Finders keepers ends where federal mail laws begin. 32. Picking up a lost pet can be theft of property. People often pick up wandering dogs thinking they're rescuing them. But in states like Texas, Georgia, and Ohio, a dog is property, and keeping it, even temporarily, can be prosecuted as theft. A Texas woman was arrested after refusing to return a dog she claimed was neglected, even though the owner produced vet records. Police treat it as stealing someone's property, not animal rescue. Good intentions don't erase the penal code. 33. Borrowing someone's car without permission, even a family member's, is auto theft. Many Americans assume taking a family member's or roommate's car without asking is safe, but unauthorized use of a motor vehicle is treated as auto theft in multiple states. A Virginia teenager was arrested after taking his mother's car to get food. She didn't want to press charges. Police did anyway. Auto theft charges are based on use without consent, not ownership. Blood relation doesn't give immunity. 34. Using fake names online can be a crime. People think using fake usernames on social media is harmless, but several federal cases have charged individuals under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA, for impersonation, evading bans, or unauthorized access. A Missouri woman in the infamous MySpace hoax case was charged for violating terms of service using a false identity. Even though charges were later dismissed, the precedent stands. In the wrong context, a fake profile can become a federal offense. 35. Picking wildflowers on federal or state land can get you arrested. Many Americans think nature is free to touch. Not in the U.S. On federal lands, removing or even picking certain plants violates conservation laws. A New York couple was fined heavily after picking protected wildflowers in a national park for wedding photos. In California, removing plants from state parks can lead to misdemeanor charges. One Arizona tourist was detained by rangers after picking cacti just for a souvenir. 36. Transporting legally owned guns across state lines can be illegal. A gun legal in one state may be a felony in the next. Travelers are frequently arrested at airports and state borders after crossing into jurisdictions with stricter laws, especially New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. One Georgia man with a legally owned firearm was arrested in New York after declaring it at an airport because New York considered his permit invalid. Same gun, same owner, same intent, different state, different outcome. 37. Dumpster diving is often illegal due to trespassing laws. Many Americans believe dumpster diving is fully legal after the Supreme Court ruled trash has no privacy protection. But trespassing laws override that. If the dumpster is on private property or behind a gate, fence, or near a business, diving can result in trespassing or theft charges. Multiple arrests happen every year when people take discarded items behind stores like Best Buy or CVS. The trash isn't the issue. The land it sits on is. 38. Stopping on the highway to help someone is illegal in some states. Stopping to rescue someone seems moral, but in states like New York, Florida, and Colorado, stopping your vehicle on a highway shoulder without emergency necessity can lead to fines or arrest. Good Samaritans have been cited or detained for pulling over to help stranded drivers because officers considered it a traffic hazard. Moral instinct meets legal technicality. 39. Citizens' arrest can backfire into a felony. Many Americans think they can legally detain someone committing a crime, but citizens' arrest laws vary dramatically. In some states, using force, detaining the wrong person, or holding someone too long can result in kidnapping or assault charges. A Georgia man attempting a misguided citizen's arrest was himself arrested when police determined he had no legal grounds. The person he detained committed no crime, he did. 40. Using a fake handicap placard equals criminal fraud. People think using a relative's handicap placard is harmless. It's not. It's fraud, punishable by heavy fines and arrest. States like California run undercover stings, arresting drivers misusing placards. In 2019 alone, more than 280 people were arrested in Los Angeles for handicap placard abuse. Many were shocked to learn it wasn't just a parking ticket. 41. Flying a drone near certain areas is a federal offense. Drones feel harmless, but flying near airports, federal buildings, military bases, or wildfire zones is illegal. Multiple arrests occur yearly for people flying drones over police scenes, airports, or restricted airspace without knowing. A Colorado man was arrested after flying his drone over a wildfire area, obstructing firefighting aircraft. He told officers he was just filming content for YouTube. 42. Picking up a feather on the ground violates federal law. Under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, possession of bird feathers, yes, even ones you find on the ground, is illegal for many species. People have been fined or detained after collecting feathers as souvenirs on beaches or national parks. Even artists have been investigated. The law was written to protect endangered birds, but its scope is vastly broader than most Americans realize. 43. Driving with car interior lights on can lead to a traffic stop. Americans grew up hearing, "Turn off the car light or you'll get pulled over." Turns out it's partially true. While not illegal everywhere, many states allow officers to stop drivers for vehicular distraction or reduced visibility. In several documented cases, drivers were cited or detained after officers used the interior light rule as a pretext for lawful stops. A myth became legally useful. 44. Taking photos inside certain government buildings is illegal. Americans assume public building equals photography allowed. Not in federal courthouses, DMV offices, Social Security buildings, or some city halls. People have been arrested for filming inside buildings designated as no recording zones under federal regulations. One YouTuber was detained at a Social Security office after insisting on his First Amendment rights. Laws say otherwise. 45. You can be arrested for helping someone commit a crime without knowing it's a crime. This is the darkest gray zone of all. If someone asks you to hold a package, give them a ride, keep something in your car, lend them your ID, or upload a file, and that action assists a crime, you can be charged with aiding and abetting, even if you didn't know. One Georgia woman was arrested after unknowingly storing packages for a friend involved in fraud. She thought she was helping with online returns. Prosecutors disagreed. Freedom with footnotes. By now, one thing is painfully clear. In America, the line between legal and illegal is not a wall, it's a fog. A shifting, uneven, sometimes arbitrary mist of rules that most citizens walk through every day without realizing how easy it is to step into the wrong shape of it. Across the first 30 facts, you've seen a pattern. Nothing feels criminal until the moment someone in uniform decides it is. Picking up a lost wallet, filming a confrontation, using the wrong name online, carrying the wrong pocket knife across the wrong state border, helping a stray dog, connecting to Wi-Fi that didn't have a password, doing something perfectly normal in one zip code, then getting arrested for the same act in another. Not because these people were reckless, not because the acts were dangerous, but because the American legal system isn't designed around clarity. It's designed around layers. Federal law stacked on state law, stacked on county regulations, stacked on municipal codes. A tower of rules so tall the shadows overlap, until even simple things become legal puzzles. Freedom, in theory, is a wide open road. Freedom in practice is a lane with unmarked potholes. Most of the arrests we've seen didn't happen because someone meant to break the law. They happened because someone didn't know the law existed until flashing lights explained it. As we enter the final 15 facts, the gray zones tighten. These aren't harmless misunderstandings anymore, but situations where innocence and illegality become so intertwined that even good intentions trigger criminal charges. The lesson so far? In America, legality isn't about what feels right. It's about what's written down, somewhere, whether you've read it or not. The laws you don't see are the ones that catch you. If there's one truth hiding inside these 45 legal twists, it's this. America isn't governed by one set of laws. It's governed by layers. Millions of rules drifting over each other like shifting tectonic plates, forming cracks, overlaps, and invisible traps no one sees until they step directly into them. We grow up believing freedom is simple, that as long as you're not hurting anyone, you're fine. But the reality documented in these cases tells a different story. People weren't arrested for malice. They weren't scheming, reckless, or violent. They were doing things they genuinely believed were harmless. Keeping a found package, filming a tense moment, crossing a border with an object they owned legally, checking on a dog, wearing a mask, picking a wildflower, retrieving a dropped ball, or storing rainwater that fell on their own roof. What they didn't realize is that America doesn't run on intuition. It runs on fine print, and the fine print runs deep. One action becomes legal or illegal depending not on morality, but on geography. Move 20 feet, cross a state line, step onto federal land, enter a building with a different jurisdiction, or click a button in the wrong online interface, and the rules rewrite themselves instantly. The strangest part isn't that these laws exist. It's that most of the people arrested under them didn't know they were breaking anything at all. The legal system doesn't wait for comprehension. It doesn't warn. It doesn't pause. It acts and then explains. Sometimes politely, sometimes with handcuffs, sometimes with the phrase, "ignorance of the law is no excuse," a sentence that sounds logical until you realize it applies to a body of rules no single human being could ever fully read in a lifetime. But these 45 stories aren't warnings. They're mirrors. They show a country where common sense and legality don't always shake hands, where everyday choices have hidden costs, where intention matters less than location, where the rules are written in a language most people never get to see. Freedom isn't a wide-open field. It's a hallway lined with unlocked doors. Some lead to exits, others to alarms. And the only map is experience, chance, or the quiet hope that you won't wander into the wrong doorway on the wrong day. So as you leave this file and step back into the world, remember, legality is not intuition. It's cartography, a shifting landscape of boundaries, exceptions, and invisible fences. You don't need to fear them, but you do need to know they exist. This has been the Absurdist Files, File 009. 45 things Americans think are legal, but will get you arrested. A reminder that in the land of the free, the rules are anything but simple, and the next twist might be written in a law you've never heard of.